We're good? Roll.
Yep.
All right, calling the meeting to order. 7:00 on the dot. Sean will be so proud.
Yes.
Approval of the agenda. I think as we have discussed last week, this is the document that we wanted to talk about, so I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Fantastic. Everybody get a chance to look over the minutes, any questions? We'll go through the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Yeah. All in favor? Thank you.
Stay.
You guys then do. Yeah. Okay, all right, moving ahead to the whole review.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, first I gave you a memo, the main purpose, because you asked me, at the last meeting, to give you the total amounts. So what I did is I recalculated the total amount, which would be every employee number paid for $176,346.99. Presently, we allocate $98,991.80 for our retirement. For our employees. So it would indicate that we would have to increase the off the main first to everyone. Additional $77,355.19. Now, when you go through the warrant tonight, there will be a warrant article there addressing the main PERS, and it's article 14. And we'll address the main PERS, so you can have up and down vote with off of that as a time. So that would give us various options for our employees. The main PERS, if they so want to take it, stick with what we have.
Keith,
For the way we vote.
do you have a number on, let's say it was a full, I know it's not, but let's say it was a full 77,000. Do you have a rough idea of what that would equate to for increasing the mill rate?
Yeah, what did you put in the budget originally?
I had 32,006 based on our observations.
So this is of everybody.
That's good. Everybody.
Which is what we get asked.
Yeah, because you guys wanted to make sure that everybody, the select people of the taxpayer would get a full picture of what they were trying to do.
Right.
What's the mill rate if everybody was to take it? Do you have that number?
Well, it would be very difficult to give you that number, other than if we speculate that we believe that the new value of the town is going to be $875 million. So it'd be for every 875,000 that they go up to $100 on tax rate. So I have to do calculations.
What do we currently the assessment about? Do you know what the old assessment
Our old assessment is,
approximately
it's in the 500 region now,
Okay. 5
it's
million?
almost 600,000. It's closer to the 600K.
As far as the valuation of the town?
Yeah.
So this is where I miss John, because I know that we disagreed, but John could sit there and punch it in and he could say that this would be 10 cents or 20 cents or 30-cent mill rate. Obviously, there are assumptions that we have to make some
I
assumptions.
can do it. I can do the math really.
I think it'd be nice to know in case it's asked on, what, because obviously it's going to affect the mill rate.
Well, I think the issue of looking at just the mill rate, in my opinion, is that it's just the mill rate. Like you're also functioning, looking at people's livelihood, right? Like their numbers of us as a town functioning, making sure that we have enough people. And if this is like a big hinge, like I know that you said in the town that you work in, it's a big player for her. So it's not so much to me like a number in the mill rate. It's also like what we're establishing as our town.
Right. And I get that. We want to bring people, but there are people that are. Right. There are people that they're, all the only thing they're
Yes.
interested in is a mill rate.
Is a mill
How much
rate,
is it gonna cost me?
Yeah.
Right. How much?
Yeah,
It's hard to have that number, right?
Based on,
We're gonna have.
yeah, based on what, it's gonna be less than 9 cents.
But like. Essentially, over what you have already presented us is $35,000. Average.
Right.
Right, because you've already put $32,000 in the bill, you're saying.
If everybody took it, it'd be 77.
Right, but you've already put the budget that is
32,
right?
I took that out.
right, but that's the expected
Right,
amount,
expected.
right, like that's what you would, the actual.
So I
would
would
be
go
closer to.
$35,000.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. And in the scheme of the whole budget, that's a drop.
Right, right.
It's gonna be hard to do that this year because of the valuation issue.
Right.
That's just
True.
like-
So,
It's gonna be wrong guesses this year.
Oh, I know that, but we, we have to kind of use the best assumption at this point.
Yeah, what I give you is the state value that they,
Right.
is 100%, which is 874, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the mill rate's gonna go down.
Thank you. Hope.
Ours hasn't grown.
So
It is.
obviously I provided that to you as part of the package. I gave you the new overall budget sheet, which gives you a bottom line. Once if we just, before we add in revenue, our fiscal operating budget would be up $231,816, or 3.9%. Then once you add in the revenue, it drops it down to 20,669, so less than 0.7%. Our adjustment.
So not even 1%.
Correct. Once you factor in the revenue.
I guess my question that I had been looking at overall was, where we seem to be doing fairly well as far as putting money aside, like like, in other words, the revenues have been better than what we had anticipated and everything. I guess I'm looking at all the news and everything and maybe getting worried about our economy, but I'm just wondering, like, we're increasing the road budget to 650. And we've been doing, like, we did 580 and, and brought it up to 600. And the budget proposed has been still staying underneath the 500,000. So I'm wondering, do we really need that extra 50 in there? Do we, would it be something that because we're gonna be getting a 7% increase at the school level and everything, or that's what they've told us lately and stuff. So I'm just wondering, are we, and the last couple of, if you look at the last work projects and everything, they don't, I know that what's not necessarily completed in 25 and 24 will get completed this spring, as well as the new projects for 25 and stuff, but I'm just wondering.
Well, I did a quick analysis, 2018 to 2025. We projected our cost to be $4,391,033 for that period of time for our projects. We allocated $3,869,400. So our allocations were $500,000 short than what we were projecting. So throughout this whole 10-year road work, we've had to select the ones that we thought needed to be done. So it's not like we've
Okay,
we've had less money in there than we've had projected. So I guess that's the point.
okay, because I was looking at the road project
Right.
per year, and it
The
didn't,
one for the year.
and it's always been less than what we've been budgeting, so that's why I'm wondering, like, if we were over budgeting, because our roads are good, and I know that we don't want to get them to the point where we're
Sure.
catching
You
up,
look at
but,
the piece that we have there, we have an estimate for the Bridgestone Road intersection that was back in 2019,
Mhm.
$175,000 for that intersection. So we have to update that So we're talking about the 650, so whatever we don't use for
Brimstone.
paving, we're gonna try to use a portion of that to do this intersection. We have 30,000 we set aside for engineering and some construction through the ARPA funds, and then whatever we have to be, so. It's gonna be a balancing act, so what we can do, what we can, if we get, to answer your other question too, is if we get an estimate for that intersection. And we have to cut back to some of our road paving to get that intersection done, that's. So we won't go.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was one of the areas where we could bring it down, because we seem to be like at the end of the year, we've been bringing up our undesignated fund quite a bit every year, so I'm just wondering if there's any way that, you know, because of the economy, I don't think is gonna get much better for a while. I think it's gonna, you know, have a nosedive, you know, soon, and you know, I remember in the nineties, we had an issue with, you know, a lot of people going through bankruptcies and things like that, and it just kind of worries me as far as, you know, but, yeah, you know.
And then finally, part of the package that I gave you, I just updated the sheets that indicated the increase. So I gave you those 10 sheets. And the only other thing I gotta tell you, talk to you about, I did put it in the budget, it's in the budget now. And obviously we'll talk about the warrant already, but the miscellaneous expenses of social services, she'll talk a little bit about it. Having really worried nail down on this, talk about it tonight. But the thing I need to bring to your attention is that the free library are requesting funding for $25,000 as opposed to 17. I bumped it about 4%, 17.7. They have come back and asked for $25,000. That will be something you'll have to act on.
Did they say, did they give you like some
Yes.
justification, I'm assuming?
I asked for the explanation.
Okay. We can talk about it later, just was curious if they gave you something.
No, it's a good. It's gonna be so.
Yeah, I told them that, yeah. I told them it wasn't gonna go easy.
A number of years ago, I think it's
They'll-
terrible.
Yeah,
Because they used to ask for, I think it was like 15, and then or maybe it
Well,
was
12, 5 or something.
then we bumped them as far as
23, it was 14, and 24
Yeah.
was 17, yeah.
Yeah.
They got 17 for 3 years, now they're asking for 25.
So obviously there's we discussed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just go through it.
I would suggest that we just go right straight through the warrant. We'll see if the warrant article that everybody sees, and then you guys can vote accordingly.
I could just have.
The first article will be for $139,564 for Chairman Duncan.
So. Yeah.
Votes, I think, how do we do it before? We just vote all together?
No.
You said it's separate.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
1101, right? You're talking about 11.
Yes.
Like first, yeah, you voted first, and then.
yeah, so it's $139,560. All those in favor of that one for selectmen?
Any opposition?
so basically, yeah, that sheet will be.
What's that?
Any opposition?
And, hello, budget board, all those in favor of the budget?
I like your explanations.
Well, yeah, they'll go on, I'll have a sheet, I'll detail it a little bit more. Article 5 would be, $1,151,743 for town hall administration.
This is, all students.
That covers town hall operation, land use office, and administration.
And that includes the insurance that we were talking about.
Yep.
All the insurance, the health insurance will appear in every
Okay.
one of the
Warrant article, yeah.
budgets that has appointees. Select board, all those in favor?
Sorry. Budget work, all in favor. Article 6. Hold on, but you read,
$1,383,007 for the fire rescue.
This is 13 series.
Yeah.
Select board, all in favor?
Let me just get, Jason, were you comfortable with the raise?
No, I wasn't, but I'm probably gonna lose that fight.
Okay,
There's an 18% raise.
yeah,
So
That to me, I think should be broken into 2 years, but
my only concern with that is I think he needs to understand that if he gets 18% this year, he's not gonna get 18% next year. That's my only concern is that you're gonna come back next year and say, well, geez, I deserve 10%, I deserve, you know, so either we break it up or we
so
say,
is
hey,
it worth talking about that now, do we break it up? I mean,
he does a great job, I get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I know.
You know, I
We don't
appreciate
lose.
what he does. It's just, boy, that's to Jason's point, that's a huge.
I don't also, yeah, I don't think that that's a common increase for,
no,
especially for,
we've been like extremely generous to the fire department in the last 8 or 10 years.
well, you know better, because you work for other fire departments, so.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically all new equipment right now.
Yeah,
The program is fully staffed. I don't disagree that that isn't worth, it is worth every time it may, but. I know, and I know he made the argument that he passed last year to put the money on the floor. The floor guys deserved it just as much as he did last year, so to me, that argument
Right.
doesn't hold any.
as I told you before, I sat down with him, and this was a change from what he asked.
Right.
Significantly
All
more.
right, it's a compromise.
So, yes, so, I felt comfortable moving forward. My relationship with him and the job he's doing is very, very good. So I would leave it, that's just me, and then, again, I'll have that discussion with him about your thoughts, how it's gonna modify next year.
any suggestion he would walk,
What's that?
any suggestion he would walk if he doesn't get it?
He will.
And we've had, and
If
from
we-
past experience, we've had some,
If
you know,
have
issues
main
with,
PERS, he's not walking at all.
He's not gonna give me a present.
Oh, right.
But he has main PERS now, and he,
Well, yeah, if we went full time, he'd get first here to change the whole.
I think you have to work a
That's
minimum.
His DNA, I don't think he wants to do that. He said he'd stay on, but he would not stay on as chief, he would stay on the department, but not as chief, that's what he told me. So,
and we've had issues getting a good chief before in the past. You know, as far as, you know.
That's almost a threat. Yeah, I hate to be held hostage.
I know.
yeah, listen, guys, it is and it isn't, I mean, I've seen him here 60, 70 hours, I've seen him covering shifts,
Yeah,
I've seen him doing the paperwork and the grants that he's,
yeah, these brought his grants.
I mean.
And so, and we say this now, I mean, re-present this next year for our budget, we say we're not gonna increase that, are we gonna then bend again and say like, oh, it's more to stay, you know what I mean, like it's always gonna be. that we're-
But you
Well, I
also
don't think-
said that it was putting it more in line with the market rate, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's,
Saying on-
like, whereas if it went way above the market rate, right, like.
And I don't think we're necessarily saying that he couldn't get like a cost of living increase in line, you know, with everyone else next year, but he's not getting an 18%.
Right.
Like,
Right.
sure, if everyone else is getting a 2% or 3%.
he's on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He doesn't even make the market.
I also think like keeping it in market is like if we're comparing to Kennybunk and Kennybunk Park, like those are totally different towns, and like that's just like it's comparing apples to oranges. Which is so,
Yeah, my concern is if he went to him for a 25% raise and he said, well, we'll give you 18. Next year, he's gonna come back and he's gonna wanna make up that difference. You know, and I just, I wanna be clear that
Yeah,
Mm.
not to say.
I want him to understand that
It's not,
if we're gonna give him the 18%,
It's set a precedent.
Right.
All right, I backed him into a corner last year, I'll back him into a corner. this
right,
year.
exactly,
You know,
like, are we gonna get that same pushback?
I think there are other things that we could do for that position, in the future that minimize salary. And I'm talking about, you know, what having, being able to maybe, provide the retirement, some sort of 6%, you know, or, provide some sort of accumulation of time off, things of that nature that may enhance, things.
doesn't strike me as someone that likes to take time off, but he's here a lot.
Unfortunately, he doesn't. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents, you guys. We're on the fire department again, 1,383,070. Select board. We vote
All in favor?
okay. Budget board. Okay.
We're on to Article 7,
Article 7.
yeah,
Article 7 is the $74,755 civil service account. I gotta step out for a minute, I gotta grab the town report, because this is something.
So that's, yeah, that's different than what you have on the spreadsheet, right?
No, it's not different if we have all of the numbers.
Oh, you've got the
You
contingency.
got contingency in there.
Yep.
You got.
Yep.
And then the civil service would be,
Yep, it adds up with the,
okay,
I didn't see the contingency.
sorry, I got the law, I'm all set. Good for now.
So this is. Series.
So 74,755, the civil service account.
Is the NPR main public?
No, that's not in,
that's not so.
that's not civil service.
No, that's miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So civil services is with the,
Civil service is,
with the contingency.
1401 and 1404.
Oh, okay, so they were split up. I thought it was the total of
No.
those three together. Okay.
We lump them together.
Oh, okay.
Stretch.
Okay, civil service, yeah, that's your dispatch and all that. Yeah. Okay.
So, select board,
Yeah, I'm looking for my 1401 sheet.
Yeah.
It'll be your civil service sheet 1401.
Yeah,
I have indicated February 11th, so you guys.
Old one.
yeah, it's ambulance, animal welfare.
any questions or concerns?
Hold on, I wanna look at the,
Oh. The big pillow hinge, yeah, that's.
listen, don't you start with me.
Start with.
You start with me, and we're gonna send you back. Yeah, I just wanted to see everything that was in there, so.
So select board, all those in favor? Okay. Budget board, all those in favor? Next one would be Public Works Department,
So that was also social services.
you know.
No,
No,
Okay, sorry, yeah, all right.
Those social
We
services.
just established that again. Sorry.
Right,
Special law.
yeah, they'll go under separate warrant.
Got it.
Let's see, the next one would be, Public Works, 1,143,455.
The question, we continue to carry forward full positions.
That's correct. They're all in. In fact, we carry family health, which is open positions right now. I think about, well, we'll get it. Yep. Last one, I think, what did you tell, sheet. Yeah, last year, in 2024, we will spend $764,002.
Have you discussed the start date on the new director?
He was here today. I've got a couple things that I need to talk to you in what executive session. So. Yeah, it went well. His drug testing.
So even if Terry stayed on like 6 months, let's say, if this salary number covered the double dip in the positions.
It's gonna be too hard than others. Yeah, I think we have. So 1,143,455 for Public Works. What board favor? Other board?
So Article 9.
Right. We are $370,956 transfer recycling. Select board. Hands still. We're gonna vote Dan or just.
Don't be rushing, man, don't be rushing. Somebody has to ask questions.
Forgive me if I.
Somebody has to ask questions 10 minutes after you are able to.
I didn't hear you, so. My hearing aid. I got my hearing aid set on selective hearing.
I'm sorry if I keep going too quickly, because I think now these numbers so many times.
Well, we got sheets all over the place here, so. Yeah, I'm good.
You okay with that?
No pressure.
Right, budget board?
has Casella ever proposed curbside or anything like that, or?
Talk about.
Oh, don't bring that up again.
Well, like I went through Dayton has curbside and they're very rural, you know what I mean? I was just curious.
Our number was well over $1 billion.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised because Dayton
And
is
then we'd
very
have to
conservative.
Then we'd have to purchase all the trash.
Okay.
Available to the residents.
Right. It's a store that actually.
We don't need that.
Just curious.
I heard traditionally, people who went to the transfer station always had a chance to see somebody you hadn't seen.
I know it.
The next would be the general assistance account, $1,133,955. Favorite?
The big increase on that was health insurance, right?
Correct.
That's the big increase on most of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Wendy's picked up her husband.
He's retired.
Oh,
And budget board?
now we're moving ahead to articles.
11.
Yeah.
Missing. Oh, they are in order? Okay,
It is
yeah.
out of the-
Okay.
so it's- yeah.
Better look, sorry. Article 11, $517,637 will be recreation department.
I missed that.
Yeah.
1900, she's gonna collect 335,000.
Yeah,
It's pretty solid.
yeah, I remember that one. That one's good. Yep.
The select board in favor?
Budget board. Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna slack it, no, keep pushing, keep pushing.
Is there a game or something that you gotta go
Yeah.
watch tonight?
Well, that's the other thing. Next would be $230,000 for the sheriff patrol services. Government insurance levels. You don't have to buy a car this year, so no car. Select one in favor,
When was the last time anybody saw you there?
saw one today,
Yep, saw one today.
today,
Yeah.
budget board.
How many of those speed signs did you get?
We have 2 speed signs.
Okay,
And we have 6 locations to place them. So they're portable, they have a public works department. I think the River Road,
New
Center
road,
Road,
new road.
New Road,
yeah, done.
Henry Road. New
Oh, Hill Road, yeah, because there was one on Hill Road.
Okay, the next budget item that needs to be passed would be $77,000, Article 14, $77,355 for Main
This
First.
is the main first.
That's the Main First.
And that is that if everybody took it.
Correct.
Correct.
You're gonna go to know underneath what you've done on most like.
Yeah, I'll put a note here, what it's all about, how much, I'll put what the total amount was if every employee took it,
Right.
those kinds of things, so
Okay,
people understand.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Matter of fact, once you approve this, I will redo the warrant and make sure that I make copies to them all. So select board, all those in favor? And budget board? I'm gonna tell you right now, I really appreciate that, though, because I think that's going to help us tremendously in the personnel.
I mean, in the scheme of things, I don't really think it's all that much money anyways, you know, I mean, it's additional money, but I think when you look at the total budget.
Well, I think what we've done now is we've given an employment package that's very competitive.
Weren't you just worried about a change that was 9 cents?
Of what?
Well, I wanted to know what it was, that, you know, I mean, I'm not worried about 9 cents, yeah.
Sorry. Just need some targets, like,
Do you think,
Never picked on you like that.
do you think that along with the 85-15
I
insurance?
think the 85-15
Is that what you were finding on the job interviews? That was how you.
the particularly, you know, for family health coverage, it's makes it very competitive. Our hourly rates were in line with everybody else. Now that we added this time piece, it gives our employees options. They can not take it, stay with what we have. They can even add more to our regular 457 program. We're capped at 6. They can add 12, 15% if they want to. So there's a lot of options now for them. I think what happens with the main person, that people get locked in, and it's a pension one. And I know the fire service is very popular with fire service. We'll see how it translates to the rest of our business. All right, then we have,
$150.
yeah, $650,000 for the road construction project. Select board,
So I just have a comment on that. I think it needs to be clear on what we're spending that $650,000.
I usually put the roads in here, what roads we're thinking of.
But Terry's one that he gave us was significantly less than $650,000. And if there's an extra 100,000 in there, people are gonna question what that's for. So I think we need to make sure that.
Well, they will not, to your point, they would not see that 10 road program at 472,000, whatever it is.
Right,
They're only gonna see the roads that we identified
Yeah.
And the intersection, the Brimstone intersection. That we'll identify. Now, if they ask us, I will divulge what the budget says.
Yeah.
Because I will. So, select board, those in favor?
Come on, let's go.
Okay. In the budget. board. The next one is, 685,000 from undesignated fund balance to cover capital reserve accounts. Again, 30,000 from municipal office equipment and computers. 30,000 from transfer station capital equipment and repairs.
Yep.
Recreation plus playground replacement at 25,000. Public works equipment and building at 300,000, and fire station equipment at 300,000.
I have a question on this. So this is new to us this year. I'm just going to find for capital.
Yeah, well, we used it a little bit last year,
Well, to offset the,
that plus we used 100,000, we set 100,000 aside for what we wanted. We would stay at it.
Oh, right.
do you? Doing that. I don't foresee us putting as much in the designated fund at the end of the year. So it's that. Will that eventually catch up to us where there's gonna be a year where we won't be able to take capital out of undesignated fund?
Well, I think that, and it's got this guy, Simone and I had this conversation, she asked me point blank, that you're gonna be asking for that kind of money every year. And I think the answer is no. I think we need to look at what we have in the, in our fund balance. And make a decision based on what we collect this year, what goes back and moves for revenue and surplus from our district operating budgets. And then make a decision on where we're gonna go next year. But I think this, as you always argue about, we never get enough money.
Oh, I'm-
we're ahead of it.
I'm game. I just don't want there to be year 3 where we only take 100,000 from undesignated fund and we have to make up 500 on
Right,
the tax.
I get you, yeah, that's not our intent.
But having money in that undesignated, extra money in that undesignated fund.
Yeah.
Kind of gives us a little bit of a buffer, right?
It will, as long as the revenue goes back in at the end of the year.
Right.
But at the same time, you will get to answer people's questions about why aren't you dropping my taxes? And so that you're not putting it in the reserve account. In other words, why are we over budgeting at the same time? In other words, is the tax rate? That's what my question, and I guess my concern was like, okay, we did this from the reserve account this year. But next year, if it doesn't come out of reserve, it's gonna go back, are we gonna be putting, we're probably not gonna be putting like the fire station, stuff in next year, but again, that money will have to come back into taxes instead of reserve.
Right.
So, you've got to be careful as far as, right.
685, if you two folks rejected that, I only had 300,000 for the budget through the tax dollars,
Right,
so.
oh, yeah,
So we increased it because of the
Reserve.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But a lot of people look at it as, why are you creating such a large slush fund?
but we're not doing it on purpose, but it happens
It's not
because.
creating it, it just
No,
happens.
It happens
My
because
opinion.
our revenues actually ended up being more than what we anticipated, so
Right.
it's better to me to.
It is.
To do it the way we're doing it rather than to over anticipate our revenues and then being a,
Or under, sorry.
being a stinker at
We
the end
have
of the
to.
year.
Yes,
We don't have a choice, we have to.
Yeah.
right.
There's gonna be years though, like if this main PERS and the insurance recalculation attracts new employees, you might not have that extra dollar though, to throw back in at year end, you know what I mean? So I don't want in year 3,
Right,
all of a sudden it's like 300,000 taxes and 300,000 slush fund, or undesignated fund. 300,000 on the tax rate is gonna increase substantially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we don't want slush fund.
no, we don't have.
Yeah, don't call it.
It's our tax dollars doing nothing. You know?
No,
They don't
it
work.
is investment.
Yeah.
It is an investment, but at the point of where,
If it's too much, it's-
as far as an investment, how much of an investment,
You get little pieces of it.
No.
yeah,
Right.
So.
which is good, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, 685, do I have a vote from the select board? All those in favor? And the budget board? You? Okay. Now we get into the separate order, as they appear. Now these will appear that sheet 1403 that we talked about,
Yes, yeah.
okay? So, first one is $9,500 for the Eastern Trail. Again, they went up $500 on their request for, dues. I guess that's what they call it, dues. We kept our, maintenance at $3,000, so it's $9,500 for the Eastern Trail. Board?
Plus the maintenance.
Plus the
Oh,
3,000.
right. Thank you, all right.
Select board, all those in favor? And budget board. Next one is $15,895 for social service agencies. Again, that 1403, the ones that I did not add in was the Maine Lobster Association, Sweetser, and Maine Public. They were 550, 100 respectively. I left the others based on the request that they made. So, there was a request that they made that was significantly higher than the policy increase. For that.
So you're saying you're agree that we're asking, but they didn't get paid.
I didn't forget. You know, at some point, I mean, I don't know why, you know, it's funny because I donate to the Maine Lobster Association myself, then all of a sudden, we started getting, I do it personally, but now we start getting requests for it, so
Yeah.
I wonder why they did that.
Well, more and more organizations are working with disaster towns, so I think there'll be probably more requests going forward to nonprofit or.
So, again, that line NPR, is that Maine Public Radio?
Yes.
Yep. And we've got another one from Maine Public. Was that the same?
I think it was Maine Public Television. If I recall correctly.
So then there's two.
They're gonna get shut
requests.
down anyway.
Wait, just,
Yeah, me too, me too.
I watch it PBS all the time.
Yeah.
I do too.
I may have misspoke.
You didn't include the Maine Public anyway.
I did not talk, I don't know why I got it on the bottom, maybe I just.
We've always, I think we always gave to Maine Public.
NPR, right?
Yeah, because I remember John Fraser had started it way back as far as Maine Public. He's a great supporter of that, you know, so, yeah. So I thought for a long time we gave to them.
No, I think I made a mistake, I think we budgeted it last year.
Same thing with day one.
They call, they ask for $500, and you never give it to them, right? So Maine Public would be.
yeah.
Day one.
Day one is- And all the rest, I assume, had sent you letters again, requesting money this
Yes,
year?
I got a bunch of letters here.
Yeah, it's not just automatic, it will bring it back
Correct.
in.
They send me the letters that. Unless there's substantially more, it's usually generally leave it in there.
Yeah.
So if I had to make a recommendation, I would. I don't know enough about day one, maybe something you do.
So they provide like substance use and mental health treatment to mostly young people.
Okay,
And so I don't like, see, I guess the way I think about this is like. How many Arundel obviously it seems like we want to fund things that benefit our people, right? I don't know. I really don't know.
Like you need how many are about the town.
Yeah, like how many young people would benefit? I mean, I'm sure there are some, so I'm not trying to say no, I'm just kind of
Right.
thinking like,
I think
Yeah.
usually, we used in the past, Wendy used to review the list and make a recommendation on yes or no,
Yeah.
whether Arundel
she
people were
would be
using
able
it.
to
stuff.
give some.
Sure.
short-
It says here, it's a neighborhood opportunity to have less of residential
Yes.
substance programs. Generally, if they're providing services to our residents, they will know it.
Yeah.
They're covered.
Yeah, so I think that's.
There's
really
nothing,
good.
Nothing.
Yeah, like ask.
there's nothing, to it. So they're asking for.
And what about NPR? I think those are the two newer ones.
No, I think it is.
Just see if we're quickly.
So just to be clear, the top ones you said are not included, right? Like the ones that say new. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to.
And I think,
Well,
they want to get to make a decision on, and then I would take the $100 from main public. Out.
Yeah,
right now, there's a $600 difference between full column and what you budget.
that's probably the 600
So you
day
think it's
one.
the Lobsterman and Main Public,
Oh, no, I think it's
Yeah.
the day one
Day one
and
and Main
day
public.
one and Main Public?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's
So that means that
Because they're
that
new.
article would adjust by $600 plus.
No, his was,
No,
his was
no.
correct.
Right.
Day one and Main Public,
correct.
yes, so,
It's $600.
and that gives you.
I mean, but that's,
Oh, that gives me 15,895. Just
Take
said
those,
that.
yeah,
So the number is correct. I just
Yeah.
I need to add it up. Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
You got the line.
so you do,
You grabbed this for 65,000. How do you just get this for about 600?
So we're taking the 100 out from NPR and 500 out
Day
by,
one.
from day one.
15,895
Stays the same.
correct number.
Yep,
Okay.
but I don't know about anybody, but I think Main Public is, if it's a TV, I think Main Public would be a good, asset to support or,
It only has
it's at $100, which is a drop in the bucket, it's like.
I wish I knew if we had somebody. I wish Wendy could weigh in on day one too. It's
She,
like,
because she usually, she used to review them and
Yeah.
make a recommendation to us.
obviously substance use treatment is
uh,
The big
really the
issue, yeah.
right. But
I was wrong, actually. Thank you for the praise up front, but
Yeah.
Did you?
I just, only because we have different sheets and yours has written in that there are new ones like the Law Association, so even if you take those out, so mine is the original. So it's 15,895 with all of the things, which means we would have included day one and NPR. And so if
Okay.
we take those out, then it's actually 15.
right, left.
600.
Yeah.
So this is the part I asked for. Just talking about the issue state.
So they did write,
Yes,
sorry,
they
for some
did.
reason I thought
Yep.
they did not.
Give you letter.
Is it radio or TV or both?
Maybe
Just main public.
Just
Main
Main
Public. So
I think
good.
covers both.
So NPR is a duplication?
I would just probably put Main Public right there.
so if you pass below the. From York County Community Action down to Northern Life Home Health Care and Hospice. That totals 15,895. So that's what you'd be improving.
Yep.
Those. So, they ask. Select board, are you okay with 15,895?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
No. It's 15,395 because we're taking out day one, is that right?
I
No.
no,
No.
he's gonna keep
We're
it.
putting it back.
Keep it.
We're leaving it.
decided to leave it.
Because they send a generic letter, so I'm gonna send a generic letter to the main clients next year, because it started able to. Perfect.
Send it to the town of Arundel, easy.
Yeah.
how about the budget?
There, it doesn't have. I'm excited.
Okay, and next is show town vote to raise appropriate $25,000 for the Kennebunk free library.
Which is up, how much from last year?
Yeah.
50%.
Right. But no, what did
20,000.
you say? I'm
No.
curious.
I'd leave it at 17.
They sent this, they sent me an email. Can't find the email.
Well, I know federal funding was cut back a lot.
I was gonna
Yes.
say, that's why I was asking, because I'm guessing the library is struggling with their funding. That's why I was curious.
They get most of their funding through. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
They do, I think the
Yes.
majority does, like
And
more than half,
there
I
are a
think.
bunch of elderly folks from the town of Arundel that use Kennebunk Free Library.
It's a great thought.
I use it.
I'm not.
Yeah, they have a lot of programs.
I go all
that,
the
You know,
time.
they've really started,
I-
yeah, I do too, and they've started a lot of programs
have.
on, you know, that for young people and, you know, older people as well.
But that is a pretty big jump. That's why I was
It
curious.
is.
Right, that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
if we're gonna give them any more than the 17, let's just do 20 instead of 25,000.
Yeah, can we split it in the middle?
Yeah,
I would say, yes, put it. I get it, but like, they also have grant writers, they have like tons of people that they pay on staff, to do things, like, you know, like, so. Like, if we help pay for it to fund those things. And, yeah, I mean, as somebody that's been involved in nonprofits for a really long
I think
time.
the last time that you increased it was in
Been a while.
20 between the 2023 and 2024 budget, so.
Oh,
It
yeah,
went from 15, right?
we went from 14 to 17,
they were pretty
14,
on.
17.
17. So if we went from 17 to 20, we'd be increasing it again by 3,000.
You want to go 21? Building's probably gonna have some discussion on the floor of it.
No doubt.
It'll be the same increase we gave the fire chief, so we can make that argument.
Yeah.
18%.
Know that? Well, so
We're gonna miss you, Jason.
are we in agreement to 20?
20?
I think so.
Okay,
But you're saying that the public has been like pretty,
several years ago,
Yeah.
it became,
Yeah.
in fact, where, from what I understand, is before I understand.
Well, what happened was, it was a free library, and so the pushback was, well, now they're charging people to
Right.
use the libraries, so they're like, well, free, or our town is paying for it.
I do remember
But
that,
now
yeah.
There was then backlash from the people.
Well, the other thing to do is that 1 year, they didn't even fund it because.
Say vote.
Right.
Driver stood up and really derogatory statements.
Yeah.
And they got 0. The town voted no.
Yeah,
They took it all.
yeah.
is that person still there?
Hopefully they won't come to town meeting.
Yeah,
'Cause
hopefully that-
It was like being punished by a teacher in front of the class.
Oh, yeah, the voters were sitting there with these, what the hell looks on their faces, so they just, no.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
You think so?
I just was curious.
But
I
nobody's
do- I
questioned
do
it.
remember the whole like paying, not paying thing. Yeah, I do remember that.
You know, but yeah, and I mean, for a while then they were ready to do like, I think 12 or something like that.
Yep.
and
Yes.
11 or 12, but not the full request, and the person that came just had not the best presentation, and basically made, yes, it basically said, well, we'll start charging you for the library, you know, it's library cards or whatever and stuff, and it was not a good presentation, the way they said it. It's like a teacher punishing her class, and so basically everybody turned around and said, fine, we'll pay for our own library cards, we won't give you a donation. And they lost everything. Yeah.
But nobody's really questioned it in the last.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
no,
Since
Yeah,
that
it's
time.
been a little bit,
yeah,
yeah,
and I think quite more people are using it, you know, and stuff, I don't know, but.
yeah.
So we're gonna go to 20?
Yep.
Slide whoever in favor.
Yep.
Do we benefit from that?
Well, more like the K-Bon for.
Arundel Chamber, yes.
Oh, we do.
I saw enough work for a long time, and really push the three towns.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I think it's,
and they've never asked.
No.
It's been the same thing, so.
I think it's a great. Select board in favor? The anticipated revenue, $3,041,099.
Voting on the interest that we charge, why do we even vote on that? We have no control of it, right?
Yeah, well, we anticipate the revenue, because we use our revenue to offset our taxes. So we physically, I mean, some communities don't even do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll put it into fund balance, and then they'll have a warrant article to remove it from fund balance as opposed to the anticipated revenue. Here, you've always done it this way, I've never changed it, I just left it that way.
So what if it goes up? What if our revenue goes up on registrations?
Well, that's what happens a lot of times, we got $400,000
Fund balance.
for last year in revenue.
So I don't understand why we vote on the dollar. Why don't we just vote on
But
putting the revenue into?
because we designate the dollar amount for a specific purpose to offset, to reduce the taxation. So that's why we do that.
So in other words, when you come to figure out your mill rate, you know, that offsets it.
I get the concept,
Yes.
never understood why we voted on its revenue.
Select board in favor? Yeah, that's weakness. Budget board? I think
Should see their revenue line.
yeah, I know. And the last, operating budget that would be to expend or to provide the option for the board selectmen or select board, I gotta change that. Select board to spend up to $500,000 from undesignated fund balance to set the municipal tax rate.
So does that contradict the 685 that we just took out? No, has nothing to do.
Now, we have
Addition
$3
to.
million.
It's an addition to.
Right.
So $3 million. So we'd be taking that 500 and the 685. Setting that aside. And last year we did get 500. I don't know the new value of we need to spend the whole 500 again to Simone's point about what's going on with the school. Without being one of them.
Well, we spent
It's
We spent the 500 last year because there was an error when we did the,
only 75,000. We did it because we wanted to try to keep that rate as flat
As flat as you could, yeah.
So you're right, you had that error too. So, select board in favor? And budget? It doesn't.
moderator, I'd like to combine articles 23.
710, 1%,
Yeah, harmonized,
$5,000.
plus 7% will be like 8% total. Right now, we're at 65,
17 flat.
17 flat.
Yep.
We held that again this year.
1710, aren't we? I think we're 17.
17.
17.
17 even,
Yeah.
I thought it was 17. Well, maybe we went up 10 cents last year. 1 year we went up 10 cents.
You were at 1650.
Anyway,
We carried on its long tradition of keeping all the tax rates and changes in the value
Yeah.
in years ago, so.
It,
I think that sheet has.
it just comes in handy when you're looking at, that at the end.
So they had their second read of the school board budget Monday night. I only listened to like maybe about an hour of that today. I couldn't, I was just too busy. So I don't know what the final figure is for their budget, but
Oh, I was mentioning.
I know that they were talking around a 7% increase, so. What was the increase last year was from the school was what, like 5.5, something like that last year? Was it something around there?
I can't recall, we were $6,108,000 this year.
No, I didn't get the final number. I didn't look online. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I know.
No,
We're-
I
we're
didn't
dropping
look
the bucket
online.
compared to-
Yeah,
I'm funny today though.
I just hope that residents from the community go. Talk to the workers,
Well, I mean, would have been, I would say would have been best when they had the meetings and that they've had a lot of public input during they've had some public sessions. They had a lot of input at the first reading and they had a lot of input Monday night at the second reading, so. For them to come at the district meeting and try to cut everything, that's kind of being a Monday morning quarterback, but that happened.
Did last year.
They did last year.
That's Kenny Bunk's libraries breakdown on their. Our little chair.
There were a lot more people in Kennebunk.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, although Gray's library also is free to Arundel residents.
Yeah.
In Kenny Bunkport.
My library cards with
Mine
Graves
too,
and
yeah.
Bumfor.
What about,
That's great.
I've never been.
No,
there.
I've been once, but
I'll have to go.
I don't go. It's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So,
There's no parking.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. There's
what do
no.
they get from Kennebunk for?
They don't.
They don't.
But that's great.
Oh, they have their,
Graves, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody else wants to see that.
Yeah, I didn't realize we could go there actually.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I just never heard it.
Graves.
Yeah, Graves.
They have good programs. It's not fun.
Yeah, I know. I had somebody one time come into the town office and you know how realtors put flyers out with the price of the house and the taxes and all that. And lady came in and said, I've just got this and this house is about the same size as mine and look at the taxes, they're so much less than mine and all this. And I'm going, I understand, but I said, they have oceanfront property and businesses that we don't have here in Arundel that, offset the tax rate, because their mill rate for a long